me here with today's webinar, New Team Who Dis, How to Reset Dynamics and Build Trust from Day One. So we know that organizations go through change from time to time, whether it's an organizational change or a team change. So we want to help you use Cloverleaf and guide you through some of those times of change and leverage Cloverleaf through change. So today we will do a quick poll for you to tell us a little bit about you, as we usually do. Julie's then going to give you a sneak peek at some new Cloverleaf functionality that'll be coming out in a few weeks. We're going to talk about why preparing for change matters. So different people respond to change in different ways. And so preparing for change can really help you navigate that change with a team or with an organization a little bit better when you can prepare for it. We will share with you a little bit of an updated Cloverleaf change tip roundtable, and I'm going to show you how to do that and how to facilitate that, and a little bit about why it matters, especially when you are navigating change. I'm also going to share with you a little bit of something called role reality check, and it's also leveraging something that Julie designed on our team dashboard around navigating team challenges and how to really help people identify if they're in the right role or if they're leveraging the right, not if they're in the right role, but if they're using the right strengths in their role. And it not just for a specific team project, but on that team in general. So if there's been a big team change, are they leveraging certain strengths that they have in their role on that team? And how can you open up some discussion around that based upon what's on the team dashboard? And then we promised you a little bit of a sort of a takeaway agenda. So while we're not going to review it on the webinar, we have provided you in the resource with a meeting agenda for resetting team norms. So it doesn't necessarily use Cloverleaf in the meeting agenda, but it encourages the use of Cloverleaf to be able to gain self and team awareness as you're reorganizing a team or a team is going through a significant change. So we've given you a sample 45-minute agenda for how to reset team norms if they've gone through some significant change. Of course, we always want your feedback. We design these specific webinars based on your feedback, and we allow you to ask questions. We'll also share with you some upcoming ways to learn. We have a special treat for you next month in our upcoming webinar. We're going to share with you a new assessment that already is sort of on our platform. And we'll also share with you our fall Train the Trainer cohort is now open, and we'll share with you a special little early bird way to get access to that. So we'll share with that all at the end. But before we do that, we just want to know a little bit more about you. So if you would just tell us about your role, tell us what role best describes you. Are you a senior or a C-suite talent learning leader? Are you a director or a manager level talent learning leader? Are you a manager of a team? So even if you're managing other managers, even if you have people that report to you that are also managers, are you managing a team? Are you an individual contributor? It means you're not managing anybody specifically. You may be a project manager, but you're not managing, no one's directly reporting to you, but you may be facilitating projects. Or you're a coach or a consultant. So let us know. Take a moment, just answer that question. Let us know what best describes you, what role best describes you. If you're just getting here, just pop that answer on the screen. Let us know what role best describes you. Or a senior or C-suite talent leader, you're a director or manager level talent leader. And a few more people. We can get to 90%. You're a manager of a team, you're an individual contributor, you coach or a consultant. All right. All right, we can end that poll, Jason. Awesome. So it looks like individual contributor is the biggest group with manager of a team coming in next, and then director, manager level talent leader coming in next. Okay, awesome. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing for a moment and I'm going to give the screen over to Julie. And Julie is going to share with you some exciting new changes that are coming to Cloverleaf. You really want to tune in. Don't be looking at your email. Don't be looking at your phone. Don't be distracted. You really want to look at this, pay super close attention. Julie's going to be sharing with you some exciting changes that are going to be coming to the platform in a few weeks. And Julie, I'm going to hand the screen over to you.
The way you just introduced that just made my heart rate rise. Like you just really put the spotlight on me. Whew, okay. So what I want to start off with is Cloverleaf. In the 4 years that I've been here and the years before that too, we've really been an assessment platform that has attempted to give personalized coaching. And we've done a decent job at that. But with the power of LLMs and with AI, we can actually start to become a personalized coaching experience that's powered by assessments, powered by personality science, powered by the information that we have, and bringing that all together and truly creating a personalized experience. And so what we have always really strived to do is empower people to solve problems, solve people problems, solve work problems. And we're so much closer to being able to do that now. And so we are improving our product to be able to do that, to really simplify and streamline. We often hear like, what do I do next? Or this is all kind of overwhelming. Or do I need to be an assessment expert to be able to understand what any of this means? And so we're really trying to bridge that gap, and I would even say democratize coaching a little bit so that people don't need to be the assessment expert. Yes, we're going to continue to give access to your assessment results, to your team dashboards, but really that core individual experience is what we're going to be moving towards. So let me share my screen with you. I'm also going to put the link in here once I'm done, so you all can access this as well, because right now it's not accessible from anywhere inside of our application. We're kind of in this beta alpha phase, but we will be moving into more of an open beta phase here very soon. And so this is the new simplified experience where you tell Cloverleaf what you want to work on or what's holding you back or what you need help with today, and it's going to try and answer that for you. And so really, this is not a great answer. It can answer so many things. It can answer so many problems. And so I encourage you all, once you get the link, to go in here and really test the bounds of this. So let me think. One thing that I have done, because I really wanted to test the bounds of this, is see how biased it is in its responses. So I asked, would I be a good product manager? Let's see what it says. You bring a strong drive for results, a clear focus for quality, and a real knack for adapting to change, making you well suited to lead complex product efforts. Still, you will likely feel a pull-push between sticking to organized plans and the urge for flexibility, which can impact how you balance order, quick adaptation, and team connection at work. So you can see over here on the right that it's what traits it's using to generate this result, which we've heard from people before. Like, where is this insight even coming from? Where's this coach tip coming from? And then also people who do get that, or whenever we have reference like the achiever strength or the empathy strength, what does that even mean? And so we're going to continue to evolve on that, right? In this experience, it's not hooked up right now, but this get a deeper understanding is where we'll go a little deeper into these traits and what they mean and how they show up for you as an individual. But right now, we are building on this response by giving you tactical ways of how you could apply this in the real world. So some of the suggested actions that I could take around this: set clear priorities at the start of each project, then revisit them, practice pausing before making fast decisions, schedule regular feedback check-ins with your team to share expectations, which is a great segue into something that we've always wanted to do, but have had a really hard time doing, is team coaching. So another good search would be, how can I bring a large change in process to my team, Conzilla, which is a real team that I used to be a part of. So let's see. Got it. Okay, so you can see that it's recognizing that I'm a part of this team here and all of the people that are on this team, and it's able to give me a team coaching response here. So it's taking all these people into consideration, taking all those traits into consideration, and giving me a response here that it feels would be helpful to the question that I'm asking. So this says, when you bring a big process change to Podzilla, your energy and drive for fast results can motivate progress, but some teammates, like Keenan and Moshe, tend to value careful planning, stability, and honoring past efforts. If you move too quickly without enough space for reflection, support, and collaboration, you risk overwhelming those who prefer structure and deep understanding. And again, how do I apply this? What are some tactical things that I can take and move forward with? So some things like begin by sharing the story behind the change for those who want to understand, set a clear structure for feedback, pair up with someone on the team who likes careful planning, because maybe I don't like careful planning. So again, it's taking those traits of the whole team into consideration as it builds these responses. And we're also trying to make it really easy to dive deeper here. So if you wanted to go and look at that team dashboard, you could click on the team here. If you wanted to go look at individual dashboards, these are also accessible. You can click on them and go look at people's profiles from here as well. And so really the sky's the limit here as we're in this beta and trying to get people to really push the boundaries of this. But this is, like I said, this is going to be available for everyone. Right now, we're doing some push communication. I'll send the link in the chat. But here in a couple of weeks, it will likely show up on your dashboard when you log into the platform. We're going to give some time to navigate between the old experience versus the new experience so people can get comfortable with this change. But you'll be able to access this and start asking your questions as well. A couple other things that I do want to call out before I stop sharing my screen is that you can view your coaching history. So the questions that you ask, you can click on and access, and you can see the things that you've asked over time and revisit those if you like. For any responses that you get, you also have the ability to give feedback to our system. So actually, how can I give feedback to Jason? In our prior insight search, you used to have to @ people. You do not have to do that now. You can if you want. It'll still recognize it, but you can see it's bringing Jason up in here. So it does a better job of recognizing who we're talking about. If there are folks on your team that have the same name, I encourage you to use the last name just to make sure that you're getting the right person there as well. But 2 ways to submit feedback. So by clicking on the feedback button behind the scenes, you're enabling this highlight feature. So if there's something in this copy where you're like, that was spot on, or like, that doesn't make any sense, or I would word this differently, you can actually just highlight this content. Did it stop working? Oh no, it's just a little buggy. So you can see the text that I highlighted here is copied in here. You can add your comments, thumbs up, thumbs down, and you can submit that to us so we can review it. Or if you want to a little bit more open-ended, you can click on the form and you can submit the form, add your email in there, there's screenshot capture, so you can add feedback that way as well. I think that's all I've got to share.
So, Julie, can you just share that how like you don't have to tag someone anymore, right? So like you can just type someone's name, like in the old insight search.
Yep.
You used to have to tag someone, right?
Yep,
So
that's what I said. You don't have to use the @ anymore. You can just type someone's name in. If there are multiple people on your team with the same name, just use the last name and you'll get the right person there.
okay.
Some future enhancements that we're going to make, you'll likely see some capabilities to change the people over here on the right-hand side. It's not live right now, but we are looking at ways to essentially add more context or get to the answer you're looking for right in the experience. So you wouldn't have to go and type Jason with the right last name. You would just come over here and kind of pick from that list to make it a little easier.
Good. Awesome. Anybody have anything they want to, any initial, like, a Griffin did share in the chat. This is really exciting. So
I also think it's really exciting. I think we're still in the phase of tweaking some things, making sure that we're getting the best results we can in the right format we can. So again, oh, let me paste this in here, which you all can access when you click on that link. And you should be able to get the experience for yourself.
So someone else asked, Addison asked, so this becomes the landing page, but all the other tabs remain as is?
So yes, there's a couple things which there'll be some more details coming out. But if this is the new landing page, where do some of those things go, right? We've got calendar for those folks who are utilizing the calendar. That's going to have its own main navigation item. But everything else over there, my teams, reporting teams, those are all staying. In the transition, we're making sure that everything that was in the old experience is still available. And then critical things like calendar or those who have client navigator are still accessible as well.
So yeah, so you'll get a lot of communications from us about just like how to find all the things that may have moved. You'll get just, so look, the emails that you might have not paid attention to in the past from us, just pay attention to them because it'll help you navigate where everything is. So awesome. Great. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for being here, Julie. We appreciate your time.
Of course, happy to share. Excited for people to try it out.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, I'll jump off.
Great.
Bye.
Thank you. So Jason, if you could just paste again, if anyone just joined us, just paste again the resource so we can start our change related content. So just in the spirit of change, this is a change coming to our organization. So we're experiencing change as well. So we're going to start with our content around change. I'm going to share my screen again. And so we'll move into why preparing for change matters. Super important whenever you're dealing with any kind of organizational or team change. Whenever you're preparing for change, change is not just about new processes. If you have, a new leader that comes in, or you have, a team expanding, even something really small, right, can really disrupt a team. And so, there are sometimes things that we don't even document or that we don't necessarily say out loud about how we do things around here. And so that can disrupt it whenever we, shift the dynamic of a team. Those things that are a little bit unspoken, right, can get disrupted. Also, some of the psychological and emotional safety that's on that team, right? Especially for people that are like high S's on DISC, right? Or maybe an Enneagram 6. Like there are certain people that value like the status quo. And as soon as something comes in and changes that, it can be unnerving. It can be nerve-wracking, right? And so we want to make sure that for certain people that might really get jarred by change, that we're kind of really creating that safety for them so that they're not, the quality of their work or their focus is also not getting disrupted. And also we want to maintain people's trust. We also want to maintain, people's confidence in where the team is actually going, where the organization is going. So communication and preparedness around change is so important. And if you ignore it, the cost can be super high. It can impact performance, it can impact engagement, it can increase potential conflict. So when we ignore preparing for change, it can really just be like sort of a time bomb. And so when we allow this preparation for change, what happens is we start to bring to the conversation, we allow the vocalization of maybe some dynamics early on, some fear, some vulnerabilities, some here's what I need support with when I go through change. And then what we can do is sort of create support systems before a change or even at the beginning of a change, right? So as early on as possible when a change happens, if you can create a conversation around it, then you can sort of mitigate some of the fallout behind change. Now, there are some people who thrive on change, but there's a lot of people who don't, right? So we want to honor all of those different personality types. So what I'm going to share with you is an exercise that we designed called Cloverleaf Change Coaching Tip Roundtable. And this is super simple. This is not impacted by any of the changes that Julie just shared with you. So the purpose of this is to really help you with kind of this surfacing a change that's happening and to create this sort of team cognizance and support as the either before the change happens or maybe in the early stages of the change. And the reason why we want to do this is that sometimes people aren't always cognizant of what happens to them during change. Remember, Cloverleaf coaching tips, sometimes in a small nugget, it comes to you and you're like, it's not rocket science. You get that little email and you're like, oh yeah, that's that thing I do, right? And sometimes if we can say it and we can have a conversation about it, we might be a little less defensive about it, right? So we're not always aware of our sort of the things that we do during change. And if we can talk about it, we can, before it happens or in the beginning of that change, we can sort of lower our defenses about it. Okay. So here's how this works. I'm going to hop on to my, also just to show you how easy this is. So if you go to your individual profile, you're going to notice that your tips, the first category of your tips are located right here, right? And is change tips are located right here. So you'll see this is highlighted, right? Change, okay? So the first thing you're going to do in this exercise is you're going to set the stage, right? So when you set the stage, you're going to ask the participants to prepare 2 tips, right? So by the way, you can use this as to kick off a team meeting. Maybe you have a longer team meeting or you have some kind of offsite that's helping people prepare for this change, or maybe you just have some kind of regular team meeting. If you want to make this a longer meeting, you can. But before the meeting, give people significant time. Give them a couple of days or even a week to review their tips on change on their profile. And remember, these tips are drawing from multiple assessments. Remember, the more assessments that you take, the more diverse tips you will have. And so what you're going to do is ask people to prepare 2 tips, right? First, a strength, right? And a strength that helps you in times of change, right? So maybe something like, hey, I really tend to cling to calm or peace when plans shift. This may, result in some kind of, way that calms the team. Or I'm energized by new challenges, right? I might be a high D on disc and I am energized when we have a new exciting project. Then you're going to ask them to find a change tip that highlights a growth area. Okay. So you want them to come and share where they might need support. So for example, sometimes if a role changes, I'm not comfortable with those tough conversations. I have a hard time asking, hey, why did this happen? Or if people are going really slow, I get impatient, right? So you can see that if you look on here, you look on this profile, Reese, right here, it says sometimes people love change, but likely you prefer consistency. Still, keep yourself open when changes are proposed. Get good at asking questions to pressure test new ideas. So, for example, if Reese was coming to the meeting, she might say, usually, some people love change. I like consistency. So one of the things I have to do, and I'm open to people reminding me to do, is I have to ask a lot of questions. So you might hear me asking a lot of questions in meetings, and I'm just asking for everyone to be a little patient with me because it's really important for me to understand so I can collaborate better. So in a meeting, Reese might come and share this so that in 2 weeks when Reese is asking those questions, people aren't like, oh, why is she doing that? Well, 2 weeks ago, she shared that that's going to help her, right? And so she's being honest about it and vulnerable about it. So she's going to bring that tip to the meeting and we're going to help prepare together and help share how we could support each other. Okay. And as you go through these things, right, You're going to go through all these tips, right? And she's going to find something that helps her strength, right? So this is talking about a strength. In times of transition, you're likely able to take in a lot of new information quickly and determine how to best apply it in your situation. You can use this strength to help your team when there's a sense of overwhelm or uncertainty. So Charisse may bring this tip and say, hey, as we go through this change, this is something that I want to bring to the team. Like, I can help when we feel overwhelmed. So when there's a lot of information in this area, I'm good at deciphering that. And that's something I think I can help with, right? So again, the strength and this growth. So all you're doing before this exercise is you're asking people to, again, go to their change tips, click through them, find a tip that speaks to a change strength, and find another tip that refers to an opportunity for growth. And you as the facilitator, and you'll notice in the resource here, you as the facilitator, you're going to it's going to tell you to facilitate, go around the group and have each person share their strength tip, right? This builds confidence, mutual appreciation. So it tells you kind of how to facilitate the conversation step by step, right? So you're sharing the strength area, start with the strengths, and then you're exploring the growth areas. And as you explore the growth areas, ask clarifying questions. Make sure you're using active listening, like say what you hear. So Reese, I hear that you're saying that you prefer consistency. And so some of this might be challenging for you. And you might ask a lot of questions. And you're asking us for patience, right? So reflect it back. Make sure that Reese feels heard. And then also encourage other people. Hey, does anybody else feel like Reese does? Maybe, yeah, you know what? I'm like that too. I might ask a lot of questions too, right? Maybe someone feels really validated by what Reese just shared. Maybe someone else has the same coaching tip. Oh, you know what? I had that tip also. I was going to share that too. I might ask a lot of questions too. Great. We can be buddies, and maybe we have the same questions and we're going to come up with them together. And this way, we'll work together, right? So you want to help other people that might have similar challenges support each other through the change as well. So someone asked, if your team is not on Cloverleaf, you want to talk to your organizational administrator. So if you need to expand access, then you want to make sure that you get your team on there, right? So if you want to expand access, you would need your team to be able to see that, to do this kind of exercise, okay? Next, and you'll see this in your resource, you want to document and commit to any of the themes. So also, by the way, you want to make sure that in this conversation, this is informal, right? This is not, you're not giving critical feedback as you're hearing any of this, right? You're trying to just hear people validate them. So you want to capture, as you're listening, if you're facilitating the conversation, you want to capture what's happening and identify some common themes, right? Hey, we noticed that a couple of us prefer consistency, and a couple of us might be asking some questions, right? So notice that and discuss some actions together that we might want to take. And then make sure that you're not, remember, conversations disappear. Make sure you're not just letting this all disappear, and revisit these insights in future check-ins to measure progress, right? So you want to identify those themes, discuss those actions, right? And revisit, right? Why this matters in times of change, you want to spot hidden risks, right? You want to know what causes stress for people, what causes them to withdraw, right? Because if you know this upfront, it's going to help you mitigate problems. It's going to help you be proactive. It's also going to help you if you have to shift any norms. It's going to help you identify and understand who are the people you need to support. It's also, by people going in and identify their tips, it's going to help you actually even start to create some new norms. Even though we did create a separate agenda for you, if you want to reboot norms, this also might help you start to create a new playbook there. One of the things that I liked about when we started to create this, we started to talk about pivoting without panic, right? We don't want people to panic during change. And when people can kind of breathe a little bit by talking about their strengths and their gaps, a lot of times anticipating change creates more panic than the actual change. So if people can kind of take some time to talk through it, they can kind of reduce their anxiety around it. And this kind of, when they feel supported, they can feel a little better about it. Okay. And you can really accelerate alignment. And so once we can get out what people need, we can help get clear on expectations, we can really get the team to be a little bit more cohesive, right? And working together a little bit faster. It's just by getting it all out, right? Okay. Jason, maybe you can just take on that question there because I'm not sure where that glitch is. Okay. All right. Any questions about this exercise? So again, it's super simple. You can easily send out these instructions from the set the stage piece on your resource. And again, you can decide, depending on the size of your team, this could take, 20 minutes. This could take, if it's a smaller team, this could take 15 minutes. If you want to draw it out and really, you could do this for an hour and really do some coaching around it, right? So you could do this as a separate meeting. So it depends on how you want to draw it out, okay? Okay, so Brandon, just to be clear, you're only doing this on your public profile. So you're going to your public profile and you're just clicking on your change tips. So you're not doing anything around strength or growth area. You're going to your change tips. You're not going to insight search. So you're going to your change tips and you're identifying a strength. So if you notice, like this specifically talked about a strength around change, right? So they said, this is a strength for you, like use it. So you can use this strength. So you're not going to insight search, you're going to your change category on your profile, okay? That's what you're doing in this exercise. And look, the first tip talked about you don't like this, you don't like this about change, you do like this about change, okay? Okay. So this is another area that we're going to explore around roles. This is called role reality check, okay? So the purpose of this is to confirm how accurate the role grid feels to each person on your team. And also to see if there's any adjustments or anything that people agree with or disagree with, okay? Here's also why this works. This also confirms for people, hey, is this accurate what I'm seeing on my team dashboard? And also, do I want to use the role grid for future projects, for future assignments? So even though what I'm about to show you says you're going to use it for future projects, you're going to use it in this case for change. It also helps to increase your understanding, whether you're the leader or whether you're, let's say, a talent leader that wants to understand a specific team. You're going to help build an understanding of how someone wants to operate on that team. And you're also going to create a little bit of clarity so that you don't have people burn out, right? You want people to stay plugged into their team and to their work and to what role they're playing on that team. Okay, so I'm going to go to the team dashboard now, and I want you to notice if you've ever noticed these little team challenges up top. If you see here, it says prepare for my next team project. So you're going to click on this, and it takes you to the team roles. So you'll notice here it says some roles energize people, others drain them, right? If you assign work based on strengths, not just who's available, you might get better results. So it explains here a little bit about each role. You can also click on each role and it gives a little bit of a description. This is, by the way, based on the research of Dr. Meredith Belbin, who studied teams. And he said, listen, these are the roles that if every team has it fulfilled, then we're going to have success. Now, this roles grid is based on these 4 assessments: Enneagram, DISC, 16 types, and Clifton strengths. So if you're not using all 4 of those assessments, or If you are using those assessments and one person doesn't have one of those assessments complete, it's going to show it incomplete. So don't freak out if it says incomplete. It just might mean that one person didn't complete one of the assessments. Okay, so it's asking us to toggle it on. So I want you to, this is all in the resource. So if you see 3 dots, this is like a gas tank, right? If it's 3 dots, what it's saying is that that person, it's a natural strength for them. It's energizing for them. So for example, the role of coordinator, right? And if you click on coordinator, it'll say this is a person, you know, if who likes to be able to manage tasks, coordinate roles, right? That's a natural strength for them. If it's 2 dots, it's manageable, but it might not always be energizing. And if it's 1 dot, it might be draining or effort intensive. Okay. So just notice this for a minute. Okay. So that's on the team dashboard. I got to that grid on the team dashboard. You don't necessarily, you just unfurl it here. You don't necessarily have to use the team challenge to do that, but if you could unfurl it by clicking team role grid. So what I'm doing here, right, under this exercise, and part of the purpose of this exercise is you're going to use it to ask some questions here. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is for the preparation is you're going to navigate use the navigate team challenges feature to confirm or discuss the team roles. Okay, so even though I clicked on help me prepare for my next team project, you're going to also remind everybody that these ratings combine your preferences, your motivators, how you work. They're not judgments. They're not labels. This is just a starting point. Okay. It's just about a conversation. We're just going to talk about what energizes and drains you. If you disagree, it's okay. You're allowed to say, you know what? I disagree with that. That's okay. And each role talks about how an energized teammate might feel. You can use the word might doing that type of work. So as I just showed you, right? As I just showed you, you might say, hey, what feels spot on for you? Okay. So for example, you could say, hey, this person, hey, Joe, does that feel spot on for you? Is it manageable for you to be a coordinator in a project? Yeah, you know what? It does. It feels manageable. I don't love it. It's manageable. I could do it. Or, this person might say, you know what? It's not draining for me. I actually like it. Right. So someone can correct what this says, or someone can confirm what this says. And what you're trying to do, if there's a role, if there's a team change, or there's a leadership change, or there's a process change, or an org change, you're trying to reset. What you're trying to do with the team is reset. And you're using this roles grid as almost like a conversation igniter. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to the next one, right? I'm going to finisher, right? Are any roles missing across the team, right? How can we, do we need more of this or less of that, right? Now, even if you don't use this team challenge, like even if you don't use this, how do we prepare for my next team project? Even if you don't use this, you could just go like this, right? So for example, innovator, creative idea generator, source of original ideas. You could just go here and say, okay, Riley, it says that, this, according to this grid, you're energized by being an innovator. Does that accurate for you, right? So what I'm talking about here is what feels spot on for you. You're using these discussion prompts. There's more discussion prompts in your resource. Is there a role where it says you're energized by it and you're not? Is there a role where it says it's draining, but it's more manageable for you, right? Can you share an example of when you did this kind of work and it felt energized for you, or it felt drained for you? How does this show up for you? Right? We can look and say, hey, does anything on this grid surprise you? Right? What surprises you here? Oh, it surprises me that we don't have more finishers, because a lot of us tend to. So what's a finisher? Well, a finisher is a perfectionist who'll go the extra mile. Well, it's surprising to me because it feels like we're all perfectionists. So it surprises me that more of us aren't on here, right? So again, this is, again, a discussion starter. It's not about being an analyzer of every result. It's a discussion starter. Because remember, assessments are not exact science. So it's like, where is what's reflected on here accurate for us? And where do we want to shift things? Okay, so it's a conversation starter. If there's been a change on a team, to say, yeah, I want to do more of this and less of that, right? And then what trends are we noticing as a group reflection? Where might we be overloading people with draining work, right? Yeah, you know what? I am doing a lot of coordinating, but it's draining for me. Or what small shifts could we do to keep the energy high on our team as we go through this change? Well, you know what? We've got all these people who are finishers, and we don't need all of them doing that role, right? We need more people doing driving. We've got so many initiatives and we need more drivers, right? So who wants to drive? Who wants to drive more? Well, you know what? I want to take that on. I want to stretch there, right? So again, these are conversation jumping off points as you're going through change, right? Any questions at all about this quick exercise? And again, there's a whole facilitation guide in your resource. Any questions at all? Okay, so quick in the chat, share how either of these exercises could benefit a team or your team. So after seeing this, how could this benefit a team or your team, even if you're not going through a change, right? How could these exercises benefit a team or your team, either now or in the future? If you think about it, how could either of these exercises benefit a team or your team? Just pop it in the chat. Where do you see it could make a difference? It could help with work distribution. Awesome. It allows folks to work in the areas they enjoy. Yes, we want people to do work they enjoy, right? Tammy shared learning more about a person's traits can help team interaction. Excellent. Tara shared it can help us communicate better overall. Awesome. Carol shared just joined a new team as a coach, so it will help me understand the expectations and how to navigate around them. Great. Good. Enhancing networking between colleagues to learn more about each other, project management assignments, making sure we put folks in a role that aligns with their strengths. Great, helping me to understand more team dynamics, provide better understanding about what motivates and drives each team member, putting people in the right areas, right roles to get the most out of them, allowing people to feel heard and empowered. Awesome, better understanding of how teams can work together best. Our team is very different. I think both of these exercises could help us visualize differences and help the team to understand each other more. Yes, the visualization is really helpful, especially on the roles. You can really start to see things. Yes, encouraging people to stretch. Great, Yolanda. Excellent. So something we also provided you, again, it's less Cloverleaf centric, but it's just if you are going through a big change and you want to reset team norms, it's on your resource. It's a team agenda, a team meeting agenda, and it's about how to reset team norms. And so it gives you some scripting. It's a little bit about talking about, hey, what's working? What are some habits and behaviors that have made us successful? And then I kind of walk you through a keep, stop, start. I'm a lover of keep, stop, start framework, of the keep, stop, start framework. It's super simple, but super effective. And it's a little bit of how to reset team norms. And you know that team norms are just things we all agree to that we're going to do. We're going to hold ourselves accountable and each other accountable for. And you're just documenting them. And if you need this you could also use any of these exercises in conjunction with this team exercise. But this is something that you can do. These are all on our website. Unfortunately, we don't PDF everything. These are all on our website. We will put the recording of this webinar at the top of this. So in the next 24 hours, we'll send an email and a follow-up. But this is all in our help section. So you'll notice we have in our help section, we have all our webinars. And so just be something that we do. This is where we put everything here. So unfortunately, we don't PDF everything. This is, this link is